Hello everybody, welcome back to Ren Gaming. Right, we have Nvidia 960s. Now we have 4 cards, and I've got some paperwork, I'm getting all professional. We've got 4 cards that my friends have been testing. The systems are almost the same, although one of them is running an i5. It won't make any difference to this because this is purely on the cards. So we have, and I'll read these out in the order we will be showing them. We have the Asus Strix. The Asus Strix is actually clocked at 1253, and they've overclocked the memory to 1800 as well, which is fantastic because most of these guys never overclock memory. It is passive, so the fans only spin when they need to, and it has a backplate. It's the only card here that does. Onto the EVGA super clocked. The clocks are at 1279, and they've left the memory at the default 1753. Again, it has the passive cooling. Palette Super Jetstream, we have the clocks at 1279 and the memory again's been overclocked to 1800, and that's passive. And then the MSI gaming card, which again is passive, has the lowest overclocks of any of the cards here, 1190, and they've left the memory at the 1753 stock. So a quick little bit about the 960s, but the 960 has 1024 shader units. It's got 32 ROPs. It's on the GM206 processor. It has two 940 million transistors, 2 GB of DDR4 VRAM in it. It has a memory bus width of 128. The core clock is 1127 and the memory clock is 1753, so 7000 effective. What we're going to do, we're going to have a little cut, and then we'll go over to the graphs and I'll show you the benchmarks as we go. So, benchmarks. I love benchmarks. I just wish I had all these cards here, but unfortunately I don't. So, cards along the top, games along the bottom, frames per second along the side. It's a graph. Tomb Raider, 39, 38, 39 and 37. These are all at 1080p with 4 times AA on Tomb Raider. It's playable, 30 frames per second. It's the same as you get from the consoles. Shadow of Mordor, 46, 46, 48 and 46. Again, it's perfectly playable. Batman Arkham Origins, this surprised all of us when we saw how high this was scoring. So 135, 134, 136 and 131 is fantastic. Bioshock, again, Bioshock Infinite is coming at 93, 93, 95 and 91. Now we get to Assassin's Creed Unity. This game, when we were talking about what we were going to benchmark, I'd suggested using one of the older Assassin's Creed, but Unity being the newest game, we thought we'd try it, and the results were disappointing, and I think it's more to do with the fact that the game is so poorly optimised and so poorly programmed. I'm still having issues with it after all these patches. 15, 16, 19 and 16, so basically unplayable as it stands, so yeah. Battlefield 4 on the other hand, 50, 51, 52 and 50, fantastic, that's going to look awesome at 1080p. Crysis 3 is always going to push games, I always say it when we show the Crysis 3, just about playable at 26, 27, 27 and 26. It's not the optimum experience, obviously you need it over 30, ideally you need it at 60, but you could play it, it would be a bit jittery. And then on to Metro Last Light. So 57, 57, 58 and 56, which is again is fantastic. That's up with my old 660 Ti's in SLI. So they obviously do perform. I mean, there's no doubt looking at those benchmarks that the 960 is a fantastic card for 1080p gaming. I haven't put benches up of it any higher because it isn't aimed at games any higher than this, although it will run some at 1440, but you know that isn't what this card is designed for. It's designed to hit that sweet spot, that 1080p performance to price ratio that Nvidia have often got wrong over the last few years. Speaking of prices, like I say, they range from 170 up to 190 pounds. The Strix comes in at 189. The super clocked is 169, the Super Jetstream is 174, and the MSI Gaming is £175. Now, the card itself is fantastic. It's very low power draw, If you know Nvidia cards, they're they have been good. The drivers are sound, but the problem with this card comes in at the price point to performance, and this is something that AMD are doing much better at the moment. For £190, you can get you can almost get a 290, which I would get over a 960. And that means a lot coming for me, because I haven't used AMD for a number of years, only because I had bad cards a few years ago. But even if you start to look down the scale a bit at the 280s or the 270Xs, those cards are aimed at 1080p, and they start at about 120 quid. So even for the cheapest 960, there's a £50 difference, and that 50 quid's a lot of money. That's 120 gig SSD, you know. So I think Nvidia have made a fantastic card, as I've said, but they've got the price wrong. The price needs to come down by at least 40 quid to make them competitive against AMD's offerings. Of course, on the flip side, the AMD cards use a lot more power and they produce a lot more heat. But I think for the sake of 50 quid, might be looking towards the red team on this one. Anyway, we're going to give them an awards. Like I say, I haven't got them here. This is what my friends have said. They've all said how fantastic they are, but they've all echoed my concern about the price being as high as it is. So we're going to give it the Ren Gaming Silver Award, because it's like I say, they're perfectly good at 1080p. And if the AMD cards weren't cheaper, I'd say it would get a gold award, but unfortunately it's not going to. So anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. Like I always say, any comments or questions, chuck them down here, and I'll see you all very soon.